It was a tweet from ZSS Becker, if you know him, and he said, if you don't think the altcoin market can pull back at something like 40 to 45% at any given time, you don't know crypto. And we are going to see these pullbacks. And that's why in the game where we're playing long, we don't worry about these pullbacks. If we're playing short term, we want to make sure we miss those 20, 30, 40% pullbacks, and we're taking those profits.
Well, hello, everybody. This is your daily fix. Let's fix together because no one should daily fix alone in this market, especially right now. Not financial advice, of fucking course. NFA OFC, welcome. Tonight or today, wherever you are in the world, Pope and I-ish are going to talk about what we're seeing because some stuff's happening in the money flow cycle. Market cap dominance, Bitcoin and ETH, which gives us a heads up so we can see how money is moving in the market so we can make more educated decisions. And then Pope will probably share his thoughts of more stuff after that. So, hey, Pope.
Hey, we're sharing the same microphone. We're sitting beside each other, so it does look like everything's going to come out from me. And we'll get right into the money flow cycle and then the trades that we gave in. There's been a lot of panic, obviously, and rightly so. This is a black swan event, and we've covered these events and what that means in the modules, and it's just something you can't foresee. And we also talked about crypto being the epicenter when anything goes wrong in major events. It's the first place that really gets hit. And I've been on the road, so sorry, it's the first time I can really sit down and address the situation for ourselves in the group. But obviously, with all the things going on with the bombs and war, that's shitty. And that is a black swan event, and it does happen. And the markets have reacted. So what is going on in the markets? How are we doing? And how do we use our strategies to minimize our pain financially with these things and maximize our gains turning around? And how do we play if you're still in it? Did you follow strategy? If you're panicking right now, do you have too much in? There's sadly been a lot of crazy messages and things out there. We will get through this, people. Don't do anything rash. And it is just one of those events. And let's see if we can make some sense of it on a financial level of what's happening in the market. So I'm going to take us off the screen because we're not actually using the camera. But we will continue to answer any questions. We can see what's going on and everything, and we'll dig into it. The Black Swan event got me to break even. Truly a warm welcome to crypto. I'm back at your capital. Don't know if I should cut loss now or just ride this. Think bids on Phil got filled. I believe the majority of almost all my stink bids were filled. I think -2, and we're going to look at the trades that we did to see whether or not we exit, take a little bit of loss, or do we ride it down and dollar cost our entries with capital we have on hand. So that's what I'm going to analyze and what I think is going on. If you're here for the ride, you have any questions, just let us know. So let's get into it. The market cap is all the money in crypto. And we had a lot leave with this event. And on the daily fix, we've been talking about the compression and these consolidation areas for the market. And we've been worried that we may be in the April 5th area, that might turn into that April 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. We were wondering, are we going to get the micro bear and the money leaving the market? Then we had a nice influx. It was following all the daily lines that we wanted to be looking at. And then obviously the bad news with everything going on. So at max fear, 528 billion left, 20%. That obviously has wreaked havoc in the alts and in Bitcoin and of itself. We've had quite a pullback. We had 120B come right back in. Excuse me, I'm just going to grab a bit of water. We've seen 120 of it come back in already, and that's mass money movement as well. The question I think everybody's asking is, is this the opportune area to get back in for opportunity, or is there more pain to come? I'm going to rip apart our TA we did previously a bit and just kind of catch it up. We're not going to marry it. So we have basically 23 hours left in this new candle. I'm going to go off wick because that was a big down. And interesting enough, where it's holding is right in this area. And we can actually probably drop this box now and not do it as quick and dirty as we normally say. And look for these areas.
Seems tricky to find kind of where the zones are in this respect right now.
Yes, and I mean, anytime there's mass movement, you kind of question, and there's always different areas of consolidation and what you can go to and things like that. I think I am just finally going to get rid of that inner one, get rid of some of that. So when we look at this right now, I mean, it did hold this parallel channel from before that we've had in there with right down to our daily line, and is now holding right inside this 2.2 area. But what always concerns me is how down these are facing. We have no indication of a curl here in any way, shape, or form, in my opinion, which indicates down. However, we also have the parallel channel from 1, 2, 3, 4 candles to want to start to hold and go. And it seems to be holding here right now. Stochastic, on the other hand, is saying money entry, these lines haven't crossed, but it's looking like it does want to mellow. So we could be looking at a situation where maybe we get something like that and we bounce onto these lines before we go up. And if it wasn't a black swan event, I would be more inclined to say that our bounce up would be faster or more anticipated than more of a down than it is right now. These are the hard events because of uncertainty of people. So when we zoom in on those lower time frames, we can see our critical is fired now twice, where we've had a little bit of uptick, and we've been holding this area, and we've had some value buy here. And this is high risk. At this point, we have no idea, and it still looks like we want to go down. Stochastic on the 2-hour time frame here does look like it wants to go up. We are still in critical fear which does also not surprise me in the terms of money movement. Will we just continue this little bit of ladder down, or will this actually belly? That is what I'd be watching. I'd be watching more on the smaller time frames, because if you were in too much and this has really punished your portfolio and you didn't take profits, yeah, we're all down. Everybody's down probably right now. But how did you play your strategy? You know, do you have money on the sidelines to buy the dip? Were you all in? Were you over leveraged? Did you take any profits at any point of this? These are all questions that, if you didn't, learn from them. That you're not out of the game, hopefully. And part of the strategy now is why I haven't been buying back into any of these positions is I don't know if we're chilling. So if I thought we were chilling here and I bought back in, well, clearly we weren't. And now I'm having to catch another falling knife. Remember when I said, even when we took these positions, there's a good chance we catch a micro bear and we go down. I don't know if I jinxed myself or what, but I, as you probably all know, if you've been following me, I've been on the sidelines up until the day and a half before the crash happened. I am, like I said earlier, still in all these positions. And part of this show is for me to analyze what to do with them. I think it's really important we hold this 2.2. Otherwise, we could easily come down to this trend line. It looks like it damn near hit it. And we made this, the only thing we did today was extend it. And we made this ages ago. I think it would hold the upward trend here. I don't think it's doom and gloom quite yet. But I don't think we've bellied, but I think we've seen the majority of the panic. We've had events like this in the past where big money has left. You know, we're at a very similar area now where we were early February. So we've definitely taken a ton of money out. It's looking like a little more, like I said previously, still wants to, but on these lowers, it's looking like it's chilling a bit. What does all that mean? Well, I'm not rushing in at the moment to find my bottom entries because it's had one fake out. I really want to see this compression, but when I see this compression, I don't want it to be up here on the stochastic. I want it to be down here. So it's showing we're to the upwards motion. I don't have either of that at the moment either. So 2 hours watching closely. I'll probably be streaming here for a little around an hour. So this next candle and a half will be interesting to watch. Dominance is probably going to be off the charts. I haven't even looked. Wouldn't surprise me if it was. Why does that happen? Of course it is. Look at that. Because when money leaves the market, we always say the first place it goes is all out of the altcoins, the shit coins, the meme coins into Bitcoin, and then out into capital. And that's exactly what that represents right there. The only time we like to see dominance increase is when the total market value is increasing as well. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. It doesn't look like it's ready to return to the alts in too much fashion. I would just expect DOM to continue to be rising for a bit here. That's not saying there isn't some good positions or money to be made in the alts. I've already seen a few plays by people that have done well. Ironically, we did a few calls on Bitcoin on early April on the Tuesday. We gave you 2 entries to Bitcoin. This one hit, could have rode it to profits. And then now the bottom one is hit as well, and it seems to be above it, which is a good sign for Bitcoin. Same thing. I'm going to tighten this up a bit and freshen it up. And I think I'm going to go up the wicks as well this time. I'm going to extend the view out a bit. Happy whatever day of the week it is, Saturday, Sunday, from wherever you are. Hope your family and friends and loved ones are safe. I'm gonna do bodies. I did bodies. I mean, on the daily, Bitcoin has showed some interesting things here. We have a bearish cross, which means, we're going to have a micro bear, which is priced to the downside, but it's shown tremendous support and strength from that low 60s. And it wouldn't surprise me that there was some, excuse me, stop losses to be had there. We're coming on stochastic up into a buy situation of strength. I'm shocked that we didn't get a critical fear down here on the daily, but we'll probably see some critical fear indicators firing on the smaller time frame. Holding, I'm going to get rid of this. So that's where it did break.
Is this something that you could use like Fibonacci for?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yes is the answer.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on how helpful it may be. I don't know.
It'll probably come right to the levels. Are you asking, do you want to see it?
Oh, we don't have to see it right
No.
now. If it was helpful, I thought we could, but
I mean, I think right now in Black Swan events and mentality of people, hold on, this is going to take me a second now. So, I mean, seeing a lot from its all-time high to bottom at the moment on the Fib, which I don't see us having a retracement to the 46. Like there'd be so many other stops. Like that's why I'm not worried over long-term Fib, to be honest. But if we did a shorter one, that's our 618. It's the top, ironically, the top of our inner consolidation rectangle is the 618. We're holding the 236, and this is just for the localized. Like, I don't, if there's so many different points you could go with from it, I think just how I'm looking at it, I'm not trying to overcomplicate too many things at the moment for myself personally. I feel the support and resistance areas for these kind of events are stronger. And you can see like we held this one right here. I can add more support and resistance lines if is helpful. If that's what you're asking. I mean, we have the psychology of breaking the 60 mark for sure. We wick down because of the minor there, the all-time high, war. This was a 4-hour consolidation box. We can get rid of that. Yeah, I'm not really more worried about the price currently of Bitcoin as I am more the momentum and the direction, to be honest. And my mouse ran away from me. It does look like it wants to just chill. I'm not saying it's going to, but that is strength at the moment to come that much back after all that down. I mean, it's on support and resistance right now on the daily. Resistance, support. So I would like to see this stabilization. We might see another wick down to here. It's going to have problems fighting, but I think this right now on the daily might be the realistic expectation of Bitcoin.
The red.
Yeah, everyone's portfolios are melting. 20% hurts. But we got to keep this. If we're having 10% days, we're having tons of those in the greens, we have to be taking profit, because that's why we started with the shorts. It takes no time to wipe them away. And I think a lot of us had some profits wiped away. I did, absolutely. And this is why, one, I want to talk to everybody about it, because I'm always going to be real. And that's what I like about our group, is we are, and it's what do we do next? Because these events don't happen all the time. We don't want to be Chicken Littles, the sky is falling. We don't want to be doing what all the sheep are doing. We want to make smart decisions when it comes to our capital here. And are we mellowing out? Do we have more to go? Well, right now on the daily on Bitcoin, we're not quite in a buy. We haven't had a red out and a green in on Bollinger. We have been holding the support line. We have been holding a couple of these areas of localized support and resistance. So this here would have been where, if you hit the panic button, is an experience of patience. Just wait it out. Does it suck? Yes. But you always hear, well, you haven't lost if you sold. That's true. You haven't won if you sold. You haven't taken profits either. But here's clearly not the time to take profits or get out if you're still in. So now we got to figure out, where is our re-entry at the safest point so we don't buy a bunch of falling knives. Bitcoin, right around here, I would have some stink bids down into these areas, and I'd be watching on these fours, and you can really see, I mean, we gave these as two great entries. What was that? The fourth. What's the date today? A week a bit ago, and we're just back to them. So it's not doom and gloom, but we do have downwards motion here on the 4. So if we don't level out here, we could easily be, we did this for the daily, but we could easily be, coming down here before we do that. I like to always say I want belly at the bear. Well, I have nowhere near a belly yet. Nowhere near. So if I don't have belly, it means price action is going down, or we get an immediate reversal to where it starts to make it curl. But we haven't had that yet either. So still coming down. on the 4-hour according to stochastic. It's still coming down on our micro bear. But for the last 5 hours, it's showing some strength at pulling up from these areas, and that could have been stop loss on. Now, now is all the scared money out? Maybe. But how much worse can things get with the world situation? And if it does get a lot crazier, this is going down. And that's why I say right now is a tough spot. You have to play with what is in your comfort level. Right. I haven't hit the panic button. I've had actually a beautiful day today. It was nice outside. Am I happy with my portfolio? Fuck no. Right. I did a lot of research to find a lot of these bellies, and I didn't use my crystal ball to predict a war. Even though there's been tons of tension and everything else going on there for some time. So again, sucks. Don't mean to undermine any of it in any way. How do we now trade this? Because that is ugly. Right. Our stink bids for these localized lows were in here. Right. So when it comes to situations like this, I redo. This TA didn't plan out. Compression and a wedge to failure. And this isn't surprising when we know everything that's happened. So how do we fix? I don't necessarily have the answer to that yet. But let's try and see if we can figure it out. I have not exited any positions, to be very clear. And I think earlier I said I still have 2 stink bids that haven't hit. I use a different machine for trading, so I can't check at the moment. But interesting enough, I believe there were 2 that didn't. And if those 2 still hadn't, that shows incredible strength. So when in doubt, zoom out. Clearly the new weekly. We still keep this line because this candle's not finished on the weekly. But ironically, this is the last day of this candle. And it seems to be holding. It came down to contest this area for sure. And if that was a stink bid on somebody, hella congratulations. Earlier when I said, there has been some uptick, there's a quick 17% today. Or sorry, this is in this week, but I'm pretty much certain that happened today. Yeah, it's an then down of the Lord. So I'm just kind of talking through everything I'm seeing. I don't really have a plan or schedule for this show other than to figure out what am I going to do with all these trades that I'm in with you. I did follow my strategy. I'm not all in. I could easily dollar cost my entries to maximize even more profit later. But I also want to make sure none of them are just going to continue to bleed. And if that is the case, is this one of those times as a trader, it sucks that you take that loss? Come along with me and find out.
Could you put a stink bid just on the bottom of that? At that orange line?
You'd put
or would you?
You can put them wherever you like.
I understand that. Would you, though?
I have no idea yet. I have no idea. I'm on the weekly. I haven't even zoomed in yet. I had 3 bids here, and clearly they went well. Okay, so on the daily, what are we looking at? This is holding quite nicely. I'm going to bring in just some. Yeah, so this is adding confluence to coming into a buy zone for 1 inch. Holding a weekly we've been here before. If you weren't in 1 inch, and some of these calls we're going to look at, if you've been following us since January, we've made banging calls. Yeah, now we just got to figure out what to do with these ones. I still want to see confirmation on the daily that we're going to hold this line and turn that. We don't have that on the 4 hour either. We have a lot of spread. Critical fear fired. Still saying a little bit down here. But just because it's a little bit down here doesn't mean we won't get a little bit up and then more down to somewhere down in here. So we're on the daily. Supreme. They're only at a loss when you sell. It's gone too far for me to out or to cut. I'll leave what you're down because that's private in our Discord. I don't know if you want me to share it on the radio. But a lot in the last 24 hours. I won't say the dollar numbers, but yeah, some healthy double-digit percentages there. That hurts. And sometimes it is. All you got to do is walk away for a while and you come back and everything is just right where you left it. And you don't have to try to play these out. And that's why I'm saying I think patience right now is going to be our friend, because we do have to see where the dust might settle. And I don't think the dust has settled. If you are stop lossed out and you're in position to be looking, this is again where patience will pay for those entries. So on the day, this kind of hurts. I mean, you can see if we take our average of trades, we'll just say all 3 hits. So right in the middle would be there. Oops. Shift. At its low point there's 40% out of that trade to about a minus 30% right now in that trade. So gross. His numbers have not been fun. Do I still believe in 1 inch? Absolutely. And normally these excite me to buy. Red days excite me to buy. The only reason I'm not overly excited is because of the circumstance. It feels weird to be excited to come up to entries. And with the uncertainty, we're not sure if those entries are there. On the 2, it does look like we might start to curl. No promise, because on the day, I mean, we are still going. So this is why I said in times like this, I think I'd be more zoomed out approach. And Supreme, I appreciate you openly talking about it. Where are all the crypto influencers and all those people now that were, telling you how you're all going to get rich and go to the moon And when they lose everything, it's just crickets. And that's the sad part of this industry. And why I really wanted to log in today and go, how do we play it out? How am I going to play out? This is what I do for a living. These days happen. They suck. What do we do?
This is kind of why we wanted to do the show also, because people panic, and we talk about, being sheep all the time and putting too much in and panicking, so kind of why we called it the daily fix, because just to kind of keep us mentally level, because it's a really stressful time.
And I would rather have an entry where I know we're getting that narrowing and that cross that we're looking for than try to guess here.
Mhm.
Because if I'm wrong here, I'm still going down.
So you'd rather risk missing a little bit of the up.
Right. Because then if this all plays out and the market cools and we start to go, then I'm going to rebuy here. And I'm going to ride this back to up to our resistance here. But I have to rebuy here for the exact dollar amount that I'm already in for. So for each one of these trades, I'm in for 4K, the current price, and the 3 hits. So when we get this information giving it to us, what we want to do is then enter with that 4K, now our dollar cost entry, and we're off to hopefully quicker profits. So this is where patience comes in. If you didn't have stop losses and now you're trying a dollar cost entry in. I was hoping also to show some swing trading coming up this week. And how I trade that, I only trade that in bullish trends. So we'll have to see a reversal in the bearish trend for that to happen. And that reversal is right around where we would be doing our re-entries as well. So yeah, just reading some comments there in our Discord. If you do want to get in our Discord and you're not in, just get in touch with us. We'll send you an invite. You can see the trades we've done, how we talk, what we've been doing. We've been hitting bangers all year. But this here to me is actually the biggest reason to have it, is when the shit hits the fan. And how do we work together? How do we figure it out? So 1inch, this is kind of what I want to see. I have no interest as of today to exit any of these positions at a loss at the moment. Capital loss benefit is always needed throughout the year. I think we found some solid entries and tokens for some of these that I would rather look at the dollar cost entry. Yeah, I saw that too in America, where people buying the dips. There was a few large bids of, or not bids, buys of $250,000 area amount of Pepe. So there are people that will capitalize on those markets when they shift down to stabilize it and ride the up. So hopefully it helped. But yeah, as Supreme just said, Pepe is in the billions. It's a massive market cap. 1inch on the 4 hour. I'm going to just kind of leave it there and watch. And I'm going to be looking for entries in here if we start to get this belly. Since I have no indication of a belly, kind of an indication of buy, critical fear, I'll be looking at 1inch closely throughout the evening and possibly tomorrow.
He said the two Pepes are battling each other too.
I used to post about that, and nobody really knew what I was talking about. That was a great one to be really in on. Look about right where we're holding on Ave, this support down here, and then resistance way back. So interesting, very, very interesting. We're going to take away all that. Also saying on stochastic on the daily coming up to a buy, but we just don't have that curl. Excuse me. That is kind of what we're hoping for.
I think that's wishful thinking.
We'll see. We shall see. It is. Let's throw in some daily support resistance. Look for levels it could get to. Oh, let's get some lock on there. To a lock.
It says Pepe dropped 1 billion so far. Pretty sure it was 3 billion last time I looked. Today, 2 billion.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And going what we were talking about before, crypto being the epicenter, it is going to be the first place people take their money out. It's your highest risk asset, people. And if you're playing in alts, it's the highest risk of the asset class. If you're playing in NFTs, I mean, I would say, maybe shitcoins are worse than NFTs, but maybe they're the same for like level of risk. Either way, the point is they're freaking risky. So for support and resistance is where I'd be looking once we start to see stabilization, is where I'd be looking for my bids. You'll probably notice I'm not going to be putting in bids today if I don't see them, because I am waiting for these and we can look. Last thing I want to do is put a stink bid in and then just have it hit it on the way down when I don't have that confirmation yet. Critical, anytime I'm seeing critical, it makes me happy. Entry on the 4. So this could on the 4 very well mellow, and we could see consolidation or something. Tough call. And buy in extreme fear. Bollinger entry, mellowing.
It's a question mark.
And I'll be revisiting all of this probably late tonight. If I see anything that's major importance of news, maybe we'll jump on a stream, but we're not planning for it. But this is the time where you need to be watching if you're swing trading, trying to get these re-entries and back, because if we do start to see the curls, the money flow back might be quick and you might miss it, which is not a bad thing. And 3 days from now, if we're all back to these levels, blip, no big deal. But we don't know that yet. And let's try and play and see how we can optimize.
To just get an idea, because you have certain strategy and how your mind works, then are you going to be watching, like how often are you going to be in the next, let's just say, even few days? Are you going to be looking every 4 hours? Are you going to feel comfortable sleeping?
Oh yeah, I don't think. Yeah, it looks like I need some OG Pepe. And America, I did a post on that. I bought it years ago, and I found it in an old wallet by accident, and turned into some 3,000 some odd % return.
What a gift!
Took it. Yeah, it was like the $20 in the old jeans. Yeah, it's great. The OG Pepe is where I think if you're going to be playing Pepe, that's where I play. Let's clean this up on the daily. So Algorand is looking like trash with that micro bear. I mean, we were having the curl on the 4 hours when we gave these entries, and now it's just looking hard. It did go all the way down to that weekly there with some great pullback of about 10% already. Let's put in some daily support and resistance. Am I locked? I'm locked. And if you haven't seen me do this in a while, I usually only do support and resistance when I'm really looking at price movement that I think is going to be fast or critical. And these are definitely these areas. And usually I do it by eye and feel from doing it for so long. But these should help us with our entries here and our supports. So as I said, we really want to see, just like we talk about, this, and then hopefully a bounce in here. And this will be our low. Otherwise, we'll go down and probably bounce on this weekly at 1490. It's going to just take a little time. And to answer your question, because I don't think I did, I'll be probably checking in every hour, every 2 hours.
Okay.
But it'll be a quick glance. It's not going to be like, it's just to go, is it following this?
Any
If not,
major movement from...
If not, then I know it's going down more. So why would we get an entry? Or if not, if it's rapidly going the other way, it could be time for the market to correct itself. But we can see we got a channel here on the 4 hours to, bing, bing, bing. Nothing goes straight down, nothing goes straight up, right? Experienced investors right now aren't panicking, they're salivating. They want to know, there's your 4 hour. Critical fear on the retest, almost in a buy. This could be a good re-entry area to take that 35% loss back. Oops, I'm unlocked clearly. So we'll see how that plays. It could just consolidate and drop. And as we always say, this is all going to depend on the money flow, the total market cap. So that's a prime example of, because this candle isn't finished on the weekly, of compression to the downside. Right? I mean, it doesn't. It builds breakout. It doesn't ever say what direction. And of course, with everything that happened in the market, a no-brainer. And we all know the majority of this from here to here, this candle just happened. And we have 22 hours left in that weekly candle. So a lot of the weekly TA is going to be adjusted. And then it's just looking like it's another reset to go up, another reset to go up,
Curious to see what happens as people wake up and think, buy, 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 or sell, 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 as the hours and the different time zones start kicking it in the morning.
All right, daily. Let's get some support resistance in. I mean, just gross on the daily there. Not saying it can, not saying it can't. I'd be shocked if it did get down to these levels. I think most of the panic, most of the fear has been shaken out. But by no means am I saying has it.
Not financial advice.
No fucking course. I mean, that's ugly. On the longer term, that is ugly. On the short term, it's juicy. On the short term, it's a retest. So different to get up to the system. Really, on this 4 hour here, need to see that, do that. This here is our retest just of this formation. It could just be a short-term pump just to this weekly. Not saying it. There's no indication that this retest is a retest to turn the whole coin around, but you know, there could be a quick retest to that weekly resistance for 9.24. Oh, just killing. So same thing. Want to see this belly in here a bit. You might get a good wick onto some of these. I would rather have better confirmation than
Hope for more percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we also have a red out, green in on the Bollinger. The Bollinger bands were right on this parallel channel, which I don't think I've ever seen before. And an entry, it is a somewhat of a wedge as well. This plays out. AVAX has a really nice entry here. I mean, AVAX at this price right now just seems foolish to me. Not to buy, but market cap, market cap, market cap.
Supreme says, wait for Asia to wake up a bit more.
Yeah. And if I, like I said, if I do anything, or if I do, my next big buy won't be an all-in either for the what I would be thinking. It'll be probably another ladder in approach just to be more cautious. As you can see here, critical fired and then still just sank. Let's just clear all the drawings on cello and start back out on the weekly. And cello is another one of our early January picks that did really well for us.
That puts the size of that candle in perspective.
Yeah, right. It sucks getting wiped to profits. It really does. Nobody likes it. But when you start to see that, you know, if we went to the top of all that right there, support and resistance, it's right where it's at. So it doesn't mean it ain't coming here.
Supreme says, good time to touch grass. Looks like we're getting dead cat bounce. I'd be aggressive on TP.
Wise words.
From the person that brought you nothing burger.
Stink bid.
Stink bid.
I love them. I'm so excited I get to see them soon. I guess we haven't let the cat out of the bag publicly, have we?
Well, I mean, you're in the process of doing it as we speak.
I guess so. Do we think we'll go that low? Nah. All right, let's zoom in on the day and then the 4. Oh, when I took the drawings off, I took off my entries. I'll have to put them back in via the exchange price I got that. So on the daily, let's make this bigger.
The size of these screens are unbelievable.
It makes it a little easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely does.
I love the battle station.
Oh, and America's going to bed.
Time, a little bit of hubby time. We know what that means.
They're going to play video games?
Yeah. Have a great weekend. Hope it helps. I'll be keeping the Discord updated to anything that may be importance. Thanks for stopping by.
Glad you came out to hang. We'll keep you posted. We may do one of these later, depending on what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the morning over coffee.
Oh, that doesn't sound bad.
Right? Can I get some Haagen-Dazs and we can have, what is it? Affogatos?
Oh, I do love a good avocado.
Yeah.
And I do have a good espresso machine. So interesting here on the daily for cello in the terms of stochastic is saying it's in a buy position. Bollinger's wanting it to be a red out, green in. We do have 22 hours. I'll be curious to see what happens here with that. Can this make the curl? And can we consolidate? Can we get in this weekly box? Because right now we're below it. And now, of course, I've deleted our entries. I deleted all that. Good to know for the next one.
That's okay. People have more to worry about at the moment.
Exactly. So I have a feeling a lot are going to look like this because it is a Bitcoin cycle. We've been saying that for quite some time. So a lot of things are going to mimic what's happening with Bitcoin. Just do a quick check-in on our Bitcoin as we speak. I mean, it's just holding that 63,745, which is your support resistance as well. Where's our market cap?
I'm just concerned about a little retracement, a little up, and then another drop.
Oh, very possible. So if you're worried about massive drop incoming, I would be definitely on the lower time frame. If you're looking to get absolutely out and you're thinking, okay, this is, I'd be on the smaller time frame right now, even on the 30s. You can see where that's an interesting story. When we make it up to that 2.4, is this our little localized bottom here on the short? Is this market and we're on our way back, or is it doom and gloom? and we don't curl, and we continue to go down to this, 2.1 area. And the only way to really ever tell is to just continue to watch. I'll keep that on the 2s for sure. 30s were looking healthy, which makes sense. I could see ETH leveling here to that 3,000 mark. Like anything under 3 is just almost kind of a joke at this point. But you may get some more stink bids and wicks in there. But I think the same thing, it'll mellow as long as the market cap mellows. DOT is, I think, one of the ones that, was it? I can't remember. There was 2, unless they already hit. Oops.
What are you talking about? I'm confused.
I think I have 2 bids left that were stink bids that didn't hit on limit buys, which I was quite shocked about after all these events. But they may have now.
Sorry.
It sounds like somebody's going fast. I like it.
All I can hear is the fish tank.
They do need water. Just got that, as you know, of course.
Mm-hmm.
All right. DOT. Let's see you hold this weekly support of 6371. I mean, oops. I mean, it's not even. It tried to fight so many times. Such a weird.
I'm not even quite sure what you're looking at right now, like where you've placed that. I don't even know
Well,
what you're
it
seeing.
changes the height, right? So this is your localized last high. You could bring it to that one too, and then you would bring it down to your last low, right? So this is on the daily, even though this is broke out. Then it came from that all the way back to this retest. So there's your 1 touch, 2 touch breakout, all the way back down to the same trend line on that wick, and then right down in here from that high of April 1st. Right. So from this high to the same, because you always go off the last candle, we're on this one, right? You go to the bottom of it because that's where it is. It's saying worst case scenario to me right now is it could dip down to this, which is showing strength right now. We're coming all the way up and then holding.
I don't know, man. I think it might go down to, I know that the weeklies are fairly strong, compared to the gray daily lines there, but
I
do you think people are cooling off right now in terms of what's going on?
No, I mean, but I think there's savvy investors out there going, okay, we just had a 40% retracement roughly. These are solid entry points. And the market cap is showing that it's been cooling. It's been cooling here now, looking possibly like a curl. And that's why I said I want to check on the 2 hours, because if this here curls and we get a cross, then we know we're good. at least for some short term, or at least for re-entries, right? Because then we're getting higher highs, higher lows.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, we're not. So, but it is looking healthier on the 2 hour right now than it did, 6, 8 hours ago. But it did it for here a while too. Then more bad news bears came. So this is where we play indicators as well as that market milieu of news, world events, sheeple. But you also have to look at a financial level. Where are investors and institutional money looking at buying back in just due to the investment aspect? We are still in a bullish trending market, even though we've had some hard time. And then we also have the happening, which is probably 8 some odd days away. I haven't looked.
Some of these are in their all-time highs, and so some of these coins that we're looking at, not right now, but some of them have reached their all-time high
Bitcoin.
Recently.
Pardon? Yeah. All of these on our list, no, not right now.
Maybe not on this list, but ones I've been watching for a while.
Oh, there's absolutely.
As we remember, because we kept a lot of them were getting into the cup and handle, right, from the beginning and dropped down and popped back up.
Mm-hmm. But a lot of those were capitulation, so they were still their all-time high. Where, like let's.
Well, something like Pepe coin, let's say. Let's use that.
It's a shit token.
No, I know, but that's just the shape of it going down and then straight up. We need to. Do you want to? It's all right. It's fine.
So, all right, this was the cup and handle here that we were playing out.
Sure.
And then, like all time. Anyways, sorry, I'm off track. Where were we going now? Sorry. I'm supposed to be on 4. That's fine. We did just Phantom. Let's do Phantom. Or where we left off. Get rid of all that. Whatever that was. Oh, Phantom. How much was that swing? I haven't looked at the actual downs of the portfolio. Yeah, I reckon that's probably going to be on average of 30. Oh, right on that wick. Right on that same wick. Look at that. So right eyes support and resistance back here. Crazy. If I remember correctly, there wasn't a lot in these areas. Won't do too much more. Where? Again, that does show strength when it comes up that much. I mean, not alone. If someone's already bought that up and got in and out, which wouldn't surprise me. You know. On the fours, we do look like we have a few retests on the parallel channels right now, which is one day, I promise. So a retest with critical fear close to a buy zone, looking like we might possibly get a curl here on the 4 hour. This may be a good re-entry zone as well. I mean, it is a red out, green in, as crappy as that is. Still, as I said with the others, I would want to wait for a little better reconfirmation, a little tighter. I don't want to see such spread. I want to see that start to narrow to really ensure our next major entry. Oh, oops.
I think the next drinking game is how many times you say oops.
I love the fact that we have people that have created drinking games from my expressions. Okay, let's get rid of that. We'll keep our your stink bid did us well. It was one of the best ones before all this happened because he caught just above the bottom wick, and then war happened. It's just,
Kate's one of the best ones,
and it's just trying to fake you out here.
Except it would have been better if I had called, the rest of that.
Now here's, I think, a perfect example of what you were talking about, of a coin near its all-time high, versus something with tenure that was old and trying to fight back towards it.
And all I'm thinking is uncharted territory, even though I understand there is a system to this whole thing, there's going to be a little volatility around that time.
Oh,
it's got to settle, you know what I mean? So this makes sense to me.
There's going to be volatility like crazy right now. Like, that's the daily trend there. Like, I mean, from there to last candle, clearly retested, touched there, came out, still held here, interesting, and then that's where it is. When you look at like, that's the kind of stuff I find fascinating. Like,
Just riding the line, eh?
Just riding those wick lines to here. So if we don't see that curl, is it coming down to those points? And that would be my next think of where it would be because of the wicks and things, and then you look how it lines up and it makes sense.
Do we have any weekly lines on here?
Not really. It's because it's a
it is. Yeah.
it's a box, right? And it's technically a daily. Let's jump in on this 4 hour. And yeah, just resisting up here from before, and you can see where we were trying to get back up to. Now we're trying to hold the bottom of this box. We're fighting in the beginning, we were fighting to the top. Now we're fighting to hold. Sorry, it's just this computer setup is my favorite, and I haven't been on it much. I don't like that one. That's
That's unreasonable. All right.
That's.
I mean, that top line's really got to dip on down there.
It would do like that, I think. Before, or actually probably, into like that. But anyways, I'm more worried about the bottom one than I am the top one, as long as they get narrower. Man, where did that wick go to? Look at that. I think any of that there at the moment could make sense. It might wick down, to these levels. But it needs to hold, absolutely needs to hold this level for it to curl. But again, I want to see 2 to 3 more candles before I dollar cost entry these our current last trading bit. So if you're just tuning in, you haven't been following, this is not financial advice, fucking course. It's where I go over the money flow cycle, and what that is the market cap and how the money moves in crypto. And then I use fundamental analysis to find nice trading pairs and technical analysis to find nice entries and exits. We've done really well for the most part of this year, from January to now. We've been calling bangers, and then we just had this black swan after a bunch of these entries that are on these charts for full disclosure. So now we're looking at how to manage these entries to best minimize our current loss and maximize our future gain. And I'm still in all of these positions that are posted in our Discord with the shots on them to determine where I think we should be with them moving forward, and have they leveled off to places where we can start to see returns in the shorter term as well, following our strategy along of never going all in, having money on the sidelines for when these kind of events happen. This is exactly why. And it took me going through a bunch of these to leave dry powder the fuck alone. And that's a hard lesson. Sometimes you just want all your capital in there because you're seeing your other capital making it. And you're like, fuck, it's just not doing there. It's not working. And then you wake up and your whole portfolio is down 20 to 30%. And these are when you're glad you have money on the sidelines.
Well, and normally we're not on today. We usually, this is one of the days we just kind of take to chill. And so that's why we wanted to come on today, because it's such an interesting thing for, many like different reasons why it's happening. So we thought we'd chat about it because we've got to make some decisions too.
We covered this in our Discord live when it happened, and we had a beautiful recovery of that and got some great entries and then got out. And I used, sadly, the wrong time for my re-entry, even though I did state many times that this event is possible, especially with the halving coming up. So let's figure out how to play it, and we're going to play it well. It just, all it does is ties up our capital for a bit, and we're not taking profits as soon as we wanted to. There it is. All right. Let's go to our low there. We're on the daily.
I think it's going to be our Tuesday show where we do a little degen giveaway.
Oh, it's Tuesday show 69?
I do believe it is, because we're not counting this one.
No, this does not count. This is a special, hey, what the fuck just happened to my profits?
Don't panic. Hang with us.
And it kind of, with our whole, what we've been trying to, the whole game, or not game, but like the whole plan with what I've been wanting and the vision of NFAOFC has been to help people understand how to trade, how to become better traders. And well, there's nothing like these kind of events to help with that. Because if you can survive these kind of things and learn how to manage them and stick to your strategies when it's doing it, then the next ones become a lot easier and so forth. And then you see how these become massive areas of opportunity. And if that happens, great. And we always say compression leads to breakouts, right? Well, boom. There's your breakout to the downside of the bad news bears. On the daily, we are entering a buy position here on the stochastic. We've had tremendous, comeback uppance, like a lot of the other ones as well. To me, at this point, it's really looking just like the rest. We want to see a little bit of a hover, and we want to see a little bit more of that belly. We may get some stink bids in on these lower lines when we get the belly. We will watch. Right now, I'm like I said, playing very conservatively, but still staying in. I'm not going to panic quite yet. This is going to be an interesting one. Cool. Zoom in on the 4. Critical. Really looking like we want to hold that curl on the daily that we just drew. We definitely, this is where we want to see that happen. And that might come down a bit still, it might be like more like that would be reasonable to me. And we'll probably see some price action in this way. That's what we're hoping to see. So it's a stinger when 2 days later, after you enter a whole bunch of trades, your portfolio drops as much as it did. But as we also said, a lot of this was for longer time. This was not swing trading. This is not how I swing trade. I still use a lot of the same fundamentals, but it is also completely different to how I swing trade. I was really excited to show you some swing trading this week. Unless we see some mass market correction, I don't see us. And that was such a nice belly down candle to get in to look for that rip. Wish it could have. In a buy position, in critical fear on the daily, holding support and resistance at the moment on the daily. Let's get locked in and do some. So where we bought pretty much became the daily support, and we were hoping for support, then off, and now this is going to be our resistance to get to, and this is why we want to buy in down here to get to it, to take our money out, free up the capital, because we know as soon as we get back up to these levels, most likely there will be a little bit of a pullback from people like me that bought in on the bottom and want to go off to the races again. That's what I'd like to see. Not bounce in there. There was the curl we were looking for, and we talked about the dangers of not waiting for the bearish bullish cross picks, and we thought we would worst case maybe catch a few wicks down below here and then go.
Got him.
And did we ever? Now we can definitely see from this trend that we drew earlier how the wick is right now down onto it, and the body wasn't far off, and these were probably quick and dirty lines too. So I do see a little more pain here for Chainlink compared to the others, and the reason being still pretty straight. Yeah, it wants to curl, but weekly's that close, and it's not quite in a buy. It's saying it wants to be, and we don't have a red out green in yet with Bollinger. So I'm thinking we really need to hold this 12,392, and you may get an ugly wick down into it.
Yeah, this whole thing's a little bit of a question mark for me. I'm excited to see what happens.
There's a 24% drop since our entries. And the strategy to buy now and match what we bought in for is to make that some of that profit up and make the capital work for us, as opposed to sit here and wait to get all the way back to even to then go all the way back up above it to take our profit. So that's the strategy behind re-entering down here. But you do either have to enter for way more volume than what you bought up in here in terms of dollar value. And that's something I'm going to think about here while I watch the market. Would I want to double my entries here? So if these are, say, 4,000, would I put 8 here to take off, or would I match it for the 4 for the, try to get to the median? That's part of the strategy that's different for everybody. I haven't made that decision myself personally yet. I may exit some of these positions to better in others, depending on returns, flow, what it's saying. But for now, I'm just going to hold and continue to watch what's going on these next 3, 4, 4-hour candles. I don't know why it went all weird there, but kind of want to do that and see if we can have some price action. It does it every now and then. I don't know because if
it follow, leave it, because sometimes you follow these crazy.
It's basically saying what I want, but I know it's some sort of lock somewhere on a tool that's screwing with me. Yeah, this is a tough call for Link. I think a little bit of pain down and then off, but we'll probably retouch this in those next 3, 4 candles that we're talking about. So our wee hours of the morning. I'm down. I'm probably not going to not be able to stop thinking about it. It was Telcoin that didn't hit our. Was it Telcoin? Or I wasn't able to get Telcoin. That's what it was. Telcoin wasn't on my exchange. I got home late last night, or that late night bid of Link and Tel. That was what I was supposed to do. We had all the other entries and all the other trades, and we left these two because we didn't feel there were entries at the time. And then we gave the entries, and then I realized with the connection I had in the computer I was using, I did not have that exchange accessibility. Tilos holding that wick. Not much support below it. It's been in a buy situation for quite some time. Oh, it's in critical on the 4-inch stance. Holding that wick. It really needs to hold here. Man, does it ever.
In the interest of time, because you and I have somewhere to be in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You may have to wrap it up or cancel the thing. And I'm fine with either one.
So somewhere in here, it needs to hold. And SX is our last one. Gross.
Ouch.
This was probably my worst in terms of percentage. I mean, and it's still just pointing straight down, but it is giving us a buy, but to give us a buy there. It is holding right here. Support and resistance. Support. Yeah, we'll touch on this later. This, though, still looks like we have downwards pressure for a little bit. What was that? Take the middle to now. Yeah, this was probably our worst.
Oof.
That's what we need to see. And anywhere in here needs to hold this. I would really like it to hold this, obviously. But if it probably goes lower than there is probably where I would actually cut my loss. I don't know. I'm rushing now because you said. No, I wouldn't. I'll double up. I'll double up below. Yeah, what we'll do, we do have some plans to get to. I have been on the road for quite some time. So sorry I couldn't do a later show yesterday. I was just too spent. I'd rather you guys have my good entry or energy and analysis of everything of what I think is going on currently in the markets. Obviously, the Black Swan event was with the whole war situation and drones and missiles and bombs, and thoughts are with all those that are affected by this. We will continue to monitor. It isn't looking the best. It is stabilizing on the daily, holding this just above 2. If we can hold that, we should start to see stabilization, not only in our alts, but with the rest of the market. If we don't hold this level here, this is going to be one of those big pullbacks, probably.
We'll come back here and regroup.
Yeah. But for now, the sky's not falling. It is a red swan event. We have been in these marketplaces a few times now. And it is showing strength to want to hold it. We'll see what these next few candles bring and how it looks. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to get into our Discord, just get in touch with us.
Yeah, just on X or wherever, YouTube, on here.
Right on here.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably tune in a few times later this weekend to help out through these times. If you have any direct questions, ask us in the Discord. Happy Saturday, touch grass. If you're in this for the long term, some of the best advice is just turn off the computer, walk away.
That's what I've learned to do recently.
Yep. Turn it off, walk away.
Good. My ignorance is absolute bliss.
And if you are in the position of strategy where you left money on the sidelines, now these next day or two is where we're going to be re-entering to maximize that. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, guys. See you soon.
Yeah.
Don't panic.
Sky is falling.